They used to tell me I was too dark to be seen, until the world decided my darkness was profitable. It's funny how beauty changes value when money starts calling it. I didn't grow up dreaming of fame. I grew up learning how to disappear in a room full of people. I was a shadow in the back of the classroom, watching the world through a window I felt I could never open. I remember the whispers, the quiet judgments that floated through the air like dust motes in the sunlight. She's pretty, but she's too dark. That was my first lesson. Beauty exists, but only if the world agrees. So I learned to shrink, to make myself small, to never ask for attention because I was taught I didn't deserve it. My world was quiet, safe, and invisible. Then, one day, the world started looking back. It didn't happen with a big bang. It was a slow burn, a flicker of light on a phone screen. My best friend, Emma, was the first to notice. She'd grab my phone, her eyes wide, scrolling through comments and likes. "Zara, do you see these?" she'd ask, her voice filled with a kind of wonder I didn't understand yet. I'd just shrugged. "It's just pictures." But she knew better. She laughed and said, "No, it's not just pictures anymore." And she was right. That's how it starts. Not with big dreams, but with a little bit of attention. For the first time, I allowed myself a small, hopeful smile. It felt like stepping into the sun after a lifetime in the shade. The world was finally looking, and I was terrified, but curious to see what they saw. The more they looked at me, the more I learned how to be seen. It was like learning a new language. The language of angles, of light, of expressions that weren't quite mine but looked good on camera. I found myself in small studios, surrounded by the hum of equipment and the quick, efficient movements of makeup artists. Brushes flew across my face, transforming my quiet features into a bold statement. The camera would flash, and with every click, a little more of the old, invisible Zara chipped away. A new version of me was being built, one photograph at a time. The photographers would direct me. "Hold that look. Perfect. Don't smile." So I didn't. And it worked. The less I gave, the more they wanted. My silence became my brand. My stillness became my power. I was becoming a masterpiece sculpted by the expectations of strangers, and my confidence grew with every frame. Soon, fame wasn't just a number on a screen. It was a physical presence in the room. It had a sound, the clinking of glasses at rooftop parties, the low thrum of music, the murmur of my name being passed from one person to another. I started meeting people who didn't see me, but my look. A man in a sharp suit shook my hand, his grip firm and his eyes calculating. "We love your look," he said. "Very marketable." Marketable. The word hung in the air, cold and transactional. They didn't ask who I was. They asked how many people watched me breathe. I found myself surrounded by people, phones flashing for a picture with me, but I'd never felt more alone. I was a product, a commodity, a beautiful object to be admired and monetized. And I smiled politely, nodded, and played the part, all while feeling a growing hollowness inside. The spotlight was bright, but it cast some very long, lonely shadows. Nobody tells you that the spotlight is hot, or that it burns slowly from the inside out. They don't warn you that with the attention comes a different kind of price, one you pay in quiet moments when the cameras are off. I found myself in expensive cars, the city lights a blur outside the window, sitting next to men who saw me as another acquisition. They would talk, and I would listen. A silent passenger in my own life. They'd reach for my hand, a casual gesture of ownership, and I would feel a chill run down my spine, a quiet, firm hesitation, a subtle pullback. It was in these moments that I understood. The world hadn't fallen in love with me. It had fallen in love with an idea of me, an idea I was now responsible for maintaining, no matter the cost. Every smile, every nod, every handshake felt like another piece of myself being given away. And I started to wonder if I'd have anything left for myself at the end of the day. The applause eventually fades. The parties end. The notifications stop. And you're left alone in the quiet of a bathroom at 2 a.m, staring at your own reflection. I'd stand there, washing away the layers of makeup, watching the persona of Zara, the influencer circle, the drain, and underneath it all, it was just me tired, bare, unfiltered, Somewhere between the thunderous applause and the deafening silence, I started asking a question I was afraid to answer. It was a whisper at first, but it grew louder every night. If all this disappears tomorrow, if the brands stop calling, if the followers leave, if the world decides I'm no longer profitable, who am I without it? Who is the girl in the mirror when no one is watching? This is not a story about beauty. It's about the price it demands. It's about the journey of finding yourself after you've been sold to the world. This is the story of Zara Mensonde, the lesson she didn't know she was walking toward. What happens next changes everything.